So I brought a Mitsubishi Fto GR with no logbook and no keys.
Got a monster inside of me, you better watch out. If you ignite me, a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets cause real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score. Never getting bored, loves the blood and gold. Always wanting more, freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel it for the party. And if you start shit, you be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you be chewed up. And
Japanese domestic cars have to have a flare in the footwell.
you better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
So here we have the first real look at the FTO. Came off the trailer, and as you can see here, we're just having a quick look around while we're waiting for the recovery people to come and collect this beautiful machine and bring it back to the HQ. Now, on first looks, I'm really impressed with how it looks. Obviously, it's been droid stored for the last 10 years. It's not been driven for roughly about 11 years. And from what I can see, it's got all the potential of a fantastic future project car. The interior you can see pretty clean. Obviously it's got the Cobra bucket seats in, which I'm not a massive fan of, but we can address that later on. Coming round to the rear, we can see it's got a Blitz exhaust, which is in bits literally, and we are just getting it ready to load it up onto the trailer, as you can see. So I'm super pleased with the actual vehicle itself. It's got so much potential, and I just can't wait to get it at the HQ so we can get it stripped down and go to work on this classic. Let's go.
So the first thing we've got to do is get this thing started. However, like, I've got no keys. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to get the locking barrel, the original lock barrel, off, and so we can turn the wheels. The next thing I've got to do is give it some power, so we need a battery, so I've got to put a battery on it. And then the other thing I need to do is turn it over by hand. The last thing I want to do, this is a 2-litre V6, normally aspirated. The last thing I want to do is take a 10-year-old car and just hit that switch.
So the first thing we're going to do is remove the steering cowls. There's just a few Phillips screws which are holding the cowls together, which we can take off. I'm trying my best not to damage anything in this vehicle, because no doubt it's going to be super difficult to find any parts, as these cars are quite rare. In this clip you'll see the door panel is off, and that's because I had to send the window up for transportation just in case it rained, so that's why the door panel's missing. In this clip you can see I'm actually drilling some pilot holes ready for the process of removing the barrel. Here I'm just making the holes bigger so we can insert a Torx hex bit. These are actually anti-tamper proof bolts, so once you tighten them down the head snaps off. So the only way to get them out is to drill them out. And as you can see here, I'm just physically removing one of the two anti-tamper bolts. There's the second one. So with that done, we should be able to release the steering lock, as you can see, and we should be able to turn the wheel, which is awesome. So now we can move the vehicle around. Next step is to remove the old battery. Again, this vehicle has been stood for over 10 years and it's not been on the road for roughly about 11 years, and it's important. I mean, this battery, we don't know, we could probably save this battery. However, I'm not going to take any risks. We've got a battery, we're going to stick it on. This will also give me a good chance to have a look around the engine bay and also look at the battery trays, because obviously, again, this vehicle's been droid stored, but you know, it still has elements of cold and heat and whatever else where it was dry stored, and a potential damp. So I'm just checking out the battery tray there. In goes the new battery, which I'm super pleased. Again, goes straight in, no issues. The aim of the vehicle, what we want to do is just get it to a running state. If we can get this vehicle running, then we can then decide which way we're going to go with it. Are we going to strip it down? Are we going to go full send and do a full Fast and Furious livery on it, which I don't think I do. I think I want to keep it OEM, OEM plus, if you like. Give it the stance and the presence that what it deserved, and just try and just genuinely get this car into some sort of fantastic condition.
We've now got a battery on it. Oh God, I hate these bucket seats. We've now got a battery on it. We can see that the immobilizer is now working. So no doubt in my mind, when I fit this brand new second-hand lock barrel, we're still not going to be able to start the car because we don't have the immobilizer key. So then the first thing I'm going to have to do is bypass that, take that out. Well, we've got working lights there.
So as you can see here, what I'm doing is actually removing the part of the immobilizer, but to get to it I need to remove part of the lower part of the dash. So again, without trying to damage any part of this vehicle with the dash, because it's pretty clean, I'm removing it so I can access to where the immobilizer was actually fitted.
So this vehicle has an aftermarket immobilizer fitted, which back in the day, a lot of these vehicles didn't come through because these were potentially all imported, apart from the odd few from the Japanese domestic market, JDM. So one of the first things to do, like when I had mine, was to put an immobilizer on it. So this has got an aftermarket immobilizer, and it's not as simple as just cutting the wires and joining them together and bypassing the immobilizer. It actually has a control unit which we need to get to and unwire or uninstall the whole unit and make sure we put the original wiring loom back to its original condition. So we're able then to start the vehicle off the original wiring loom and get the new second-hand, brand new second-hand lock barrel fitted with its new key. So now I'm going to take that off. I'm going to crack on with that, and hopefully we can get this back to standard. Like I said, just taking off the undercovers, and here we have the auto watch security housing, which is the main control unit for the actual immobilizer. Now, for such a small immobilizer, it has got a massive control unit, but again, that's why we're here, because it's done properly. So we're going to uninstall this correctly and get this vehicle back to stock.
As you can see, here is the immobilizer that I've managed to remove. It's the Auto Watch Classic that are normally found in the late 90s, early 2000s, which are fitted to a lot of vehicles which came out of the factory without an immobilizer. Believe it or not, a lot of vehicles came out of the factory without airbags. I know, crazy, right? And it was an added option to have electric windows. It's crazy. What sort of a world did we used to live in? I know. It's nuts. But this is the beauty of some classic cars. Like I said, this is a 1995 Mitsubishi Fto GR, and for me, just has so much character. So I can't wait to work on it and get some modifications done. As you can see here, we're fitting up the new lock barrel, getting it ready to be installed. There is a difference for those out there between the manual and the auto barrel, just so you know.
In my race against time, I can't stop running through the red lights, living my life.
Someone could send this off X Factor and get you an audition.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I created X Factor. Right, okay. So this is for a manual. I need one for an automatic. That enables it to get out of gear. Okay. So change of plan. Okay. To the back cave. Okay, so we came across a bit of a problem. The locking kit that I brought, the actual barrel, it's actually for a manual vehicle, and this is an automatic. And with the automatics, they have a separate cable which allows you to move the gear lever to select the gears. So of course, it wasn't as straightforward as just swapping the housing over with the new barrel. In fact, I had to strip down the old barrel, the old housing, drill out the barrel, and then make almost like a Frankenstein version up using the original barrel case with the new barrel and key. So we're going to try this. I'm not going to start it, but we're going to see if we can get some ignition. I don't even know the mileage yet. Yeah, I don't know. So keys in. It's bleeping because it sees the doors open. Oh, okay. So we've got mileage. The vehicle's in neutral. We've got the face came out, went back in. We've got working. Wow. This brings back some amazing memories. So I'm not going to start it. I've just heard the fuel pump kick in. Wow. Next thing we're going to do before we go any further, I want to put the gear lever back in park under there, because at the moment it doesn't see where it is. In fact, yeah, we need to reconnect it under there. We'll get that done. We'll take off the timing belt cover, check the timing belt, make sure it's not heavily cracked and pitted, and we might even attempt a first start. Let's get on.
So here I'm just removing the air filter box so we can access the top of the gearbox. This was unbolted, so it was enabled to get into neutral.
So to get this towed away, Gary had to disconnect the cable which selects the gears. As you can see, there's the gear lever, and this here is the actual lever inside the car. So they had to put this into neutral. So what we've got to do now is basically, and there is adjustment on this, we need to select park because it's sitting in park, and we need to get that nut back on there, secure that, and hopefully we can get it running. Now I have got an oil filter for this. In fact, I've got to go and pick this up. So we will be servicing the automatic gearbox as well, so we'll be servicing that, but like I said before, we have got a heavy water leak of corrosion, so we will have to address that. You can see it's been leaking down onto the gearbox, so we'll address that. But obviously the whole point, we've got to get it started. Before we decide which way we're going to go with it, let's get this one bolted up.
So here we are, just bolting it back together, literally just bolting the cable back onto the selector of the gearbox. This was just done for transportation purposes, as you know. And here we are just fitting the airbox back in again, just loosely placing it in, making sure all the mass airflow sensor is plugged in, and we're good to go for its first start. Again, we will go back over this later in the video.
So we're not actually going to bolt that down for now, because like I said, I want to address the water leak coming under there. We'll probably need a new housing or try and find something for it. That's the main filler cap for the water system. So we're going to tackle that after. Our main concern now is to see if it actually starts. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to whip off this cover here, and we're going to check the timing belt just to make sure it's not cracked. And then obviously we'll turn it over by hand first, and then we'll go from there. Let's get on.
And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it.
So the timing belt looks good. So I feel confident that it's not going to snap on our first startup. I'm still going to turn it over by hand. First of all, get a bar and socket on it. But these timing belts should be done every 60,000 miles or 5 years, I believe, or 6 years, whichever comes first. So once we get the car running and we know the engine's all okay, we will be doing a full service, timing belt, etc., water pump. We'll be getting the car in some sort of good condition regarding engine wise, if we know the engine is all okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the key in and put the ignition on. We're going to put our foot on the brake and then see if we can select the gears. Reverse, neutral, so it's shown up on the dashboard as well. Drive, Triptronic, perfect. So we'll leave it in neutral. So that's what that cable's for on the ignition barrel. It helps us select the gears. So we'll put it in neutral. We'll try and turn the car over by hand. That's turning over, lovely. Okay. Okay guys, so what I've done, I've now bolted everything as I can, all back together. I've now bolted the ignition barrel back on, so we've got that. This can just, this goes back in there somewhere, at the top. Oh, so we've got wipers. So we're in park. Yes, we're in park. That's good. Okay, guys. Here we go. Not starting yet, but we've got the car cranking. That's the main thing. I'm thinking that the fuel could be no good. It's been in there 10 years. In fact, I'm just looking. I'm not sure how much fuel we have got. Oh. Nearly, guys. Come on, baby. Let's go. Come on, Flo. Okay, so I'm thinking we need a bit more fuel because the fuel gauge isn't moving at all. So, yeah, it's not moving. I'm going to go and get some fuel. We're going to put some fuel in it. Then we're going to go for the crank. Stay tuned. I haven't had to do this in a while. Walk with a 5-gallon can of petrol. Okay. Let's go. Still can't see the fuel gauge working, but we'll see. Could be that the pump's seized. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, Flo. Let's go. This is the issue with a car that's not been started for 10 years. So I'm wondering if there's a problem with the airflow meter or something like that, or even the fuel pump's just that old and worn. It's just not giving enough fuel pressure for it to run on its own. I'm thinking maybe there's a problem with the fuel pump. Maybe the fuel pump's just partially seized or something. I've put some fresh fuel. The fuel gauge isn't moving, which is no, it's not moving. But the good thing is the engine sounds okay for now. Yeah, I think it's fuel pressure. Okay. I think what we're going to do, I think my plan is next, is to strip these seats out, get the back seats out, and let's have a look at the fuel pump that's inside the tank. And also it'll give us an opportunity to inspect the fuel tank as well internally, just to make sure it's all okay. But yeah. Good and bad. But in the meantime, I'm curious about this head unit. So let's have a quick look. So those who remember these, so let's have a look, see what we got. Code off, standby, classic panel, so we can adjust the angle. Look at that, that's a classic Kenwood system. Yeah, boy. So the aerial's going up on the back. Check out the back aerial. Yeah, boy. See if we can get some channels. So at least the radio still works. We've got uprated speakers. So the aerial's going back down. Classic. And the face is staying out. That probably needs looking at rewiring because it's probably not been wired in properly. As you can see, that's going to be something for me to look at another date. Maybe when we shut the doors. I'm tempted to see if other stuff work. Yeah, so that's not wired in correctly. So that's got the wrong. It's basically got the 12 volt supply the wrong way around, so that'll need swapping around and that'll go back to normal. So question is it a CD player? Yes, it is a CD player. Let's eject, see if there's a CD. Oh, there is. Hot to Death Volume 7. Should we have a listen?
There's always that one person that
Bit of Usher.
always have your heart. You never see it coming.
So the rear speakers are working.
The only way we know how to rock. You remember, girl, was the one who gave me. Baby, you know.
Some classic tunes on here. Anyway, success, not success. We can't get it started. I definitely think it's a fuel pump. The more I think about it now. So next step, seats out, back seats out. Let's get to that fuel pump and see if we can get this on its first start. Let's go. So we've got the back seats out. We've taken out the passenger seat, which is a Cobra bucket seat. They're all coming out anyway. We've taken off the plate for the fuel tank, where we can get to the fuel pump. I've turned the ignition on. I can't hear the fuel pump running. So we're going to do a quick check, make sure we're getting power, which when we turn the ignition on, We've got a 12 volt feed. We've got something there. We've got an earth of some description. We've got nothing there. And we've got another earth. So what I'm going to do is turn the ignition off now and check what we have or haven't got. So we haven't got a live. So everything is as it should. So when we turn the ignition on, that should power that up and give us, because this also houses the fuel gauge as well. And the fuel gauge isn't working. So, or I believe it's not working correctly. I couldn't see it moving. So I've got a sneaky suspicion that the fuel pump is probably seized or something's going on internally. So, but we're getting power there when we turn the ignition on. So that should prime the engine. It should prime the fuel pump for it to crank. So what we're going to do is give it a tap. And see if we can hear it starting. No, nothing. Okay, so we're definitely not getting any fuel pump. We're not getting the fuel pump run, and we've got the power there. I just need to see if we've got a cranking live. Okay. Houston, we're going to have a problem. So using a little bit of penetration oil and going, you know, a little bit. So what we do, we sort of tighten it up a little bit, and then we undo it, tighten it up, loosen it up, loosen it, tighten it, loosen it, and keep repeating that process. You will make some headway with trying to get the bolts out. Now, as you can see, I've now got 4 out of the 6 off, and I'm just slowly working and allowing the penetration oil to do its magic, because the last thing we need is for these to break, because that'll be a new fuel tank. Now we've got the rubber seal to contend with, which is around the neck of the tank, and like I said, this fuel tank is the original fuel tank. So if need be, if we've got to get a new fuel tank, we'll get a new fuel tank, but ultimately we want to try and get this vehicle started without that, and we can address this later on. So
as you can see, this is the original fuel pump which was fitted from the factory. It has definitely seen better days, but we're about to change this. So you will see the original filter gauze, it's seen better days. Here is our Chemso upgraded performance fuel pump, which is going to go into the housing. It's almost like a universal fitting fuel pump, which is really fantastic because the price point on this was actually around about 40 to 50 pound, and you can find this on eBay. I was super surprised because this was very affordable regarding its cost and its capability. Again, if we decide to do anything in the future like a bigger engine or maybe an Evo engine, this fuel pump can handle the delivery of fuel for that engine. There's a ton of accessories that come with this fuel pump, which is fantastic. Different gauze, different pipes, all the fittings, all the hardware that you need to make it work. Again, I can't stress enough how awesome the price was on this fuel pump. As you can see, we fitted the gauze. All we've got to do is insert a little circlip which will hold it in place, which again comes with the kit. It's fantastic. No need to mess around looking for a circlip. So we insert that to make sure that the gauze doesn't fall off, and then we insert it into the housing. Voila, there we go.
So we fitted the new fuel pump. It's got to come back out. We've got to fit the sender unit because that's not turned up yet, but we'll worry about that. What I'm interested in to see if we can get the fuel pump working to get the fuel to the front of the engine. We should have a starting vehicle. So first things first, let's hear if it primes. Can't hear anything, but let's crank it. It's priming, it's priming. Ready? Here we go. Let's go. It's trying, it's trying. Come on, baby! Yes! Come on. She won't idle. It's been a while.
Checked out everything.
Now the exhaust is broken at the back, so we know it's not doing very well. And again, with the vehicle itself, it hasn't been started in over 10 years. So to ask it to idle is a bit much. Well, we know the fuel pump's working. Okay. She sounds nice, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Okay. Let's have a look under the hood or under the bonnet if you're in the UK.
So at this point, I'm just literally going to strip out the airbox again so we can get to the throttle body and just look at that for any sort of idle control valve. Here you can see what I've done. I've just removed the intake pipe, and we're just going to give the actual butterfly of the throttle body a bit of a clean. Again, it's been standing for such a long time, we just don't know if anything's working on it whatsoever. We've got no engine management light, but again, this vehicle was very didn't have much technology on back in the day, so anything's possible at this point.
So there we have it, guys. The start, the first official start of flow, the FTO, and we've adjusted the idle slightly. There's lots of work we've still got to do. We still need to test the transmission out, make sure that the gearbox is working okay. We need to take it on a road test. The temperature gauge is going up, which is awesome. The alternator's charging, which is amazing. We've got no warning lights on the dash, which is fantastic. The next step will be fitting the fuel sender when that arrives, and also we need to unseize all the brakes and go and take it for its first maiden voyage. Thanks for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this video and you really like this sort of stuff, please hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and also drop a comment. Do you remember these? Have you seen one of these before? Did you have one? What would you do if this was yours? And remember guys, please share the content, share the channel. But for now, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Got a monster inside of me, you better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed